And that was the Xbox 360 was what changed everything. I think the day my life truly changed for gaming was September 25th, 2007 when Halo 3 released.
How old were you?
I was 13, 14, yeah.
You were what? You were 13 in 2007?
Yeah, I was born in 1994.
I was 14 in 1994, 27 in 2007.
Couldn't be me. It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't
13.
you. How old's your dad?
He's 57. My parents had me when they were on the older side. And you know, yeah, he was born in 61. So,
61? Okay.
Yep.
My dad was born in 58.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so your dad waited.
yeah, no,
Smart man.
My parents.
I'm not saying that my
did.
dad's not a smart man. I'm just saying he's a smart man.
No, there's I think there's a lot of pros and cons to either side of it, but yeah. So then I kind of fell into love with it. I started to watch some esports events for like Halo, for example, and Halo 2. Like at the end of Halo 2, and that's what got me so excited for Halo 3. I remember I was at school and my cousin already got Halo 3 and was playing at home, and he was like a 14 in ranked, like in the ranked playlists and like Team Slayer, and I was like, oh, we were 14, like, because coming from the Halo 2 ranks, to already be at a 14 in day one was like, damn, like if you were a god at Halo 2, you were like a 32. It wasn't like Halo 3 where like I had 550s in the game. So fell in love with it there. Went to my first MLG event in Halo 3, which was MLG Meadowlands 2009. Went as a complete fan. Got pictures.
Meadowlands,
yeah, because I was in North Jersey.
Yeah.
And they haven't used that venue in years because they outgrew it. They've never gone back. And it was so surreal getting to meet everybody, see everyone. I mean, I was a diehard fan of these guys. I say it all the time. I literally paid Microsoft points to have pro players add me to their friends list because I was that much of a fan.
Yeah.
And I'm not embarrassed by it.
No, I wouldn't be either.
Yeah.
No, if I don't think I'd be embarrassed about that either. You know, I mean, you know, I buy shit that I want to have, and if I want to have somebody on my friends list, then I would do that.
Yeah.
You know, if I wanted to meet, you know, if I could pay to meet, you know, one of the late greats, then I would. You know, if I could pay to meet Michael Jordan and have a 10-minute conversation, I'm gonna fucking pay that money. You know what I'm saying? So completely understand. Did you ever join them, or was that a rule to not join people when? So really quickly, if you guys don't understand what we're talking about, back in the day, there used to be what they are today, same thing, Microsoft points. And with those Microsoft points, you could buy, you know, profile, you could buy, you know, games, like arcade games and stuff. Yeah. So a very, very common practice was for, you know, fans to pay 1,600 Microsoft points to be added to somebody's friends list. What this would do, it would allow you to either join their game a lot easier when they held an open, you know, an open hangout, or it would allow you to, show off to your friends. Because you can see view friends and like, oh shit, this guy's friends with this guy. Yeah.
And there's only 100 people on friends list back then. It's not like the new consoles where you have 2,000.
It was like the top 8 in MySpace, but 100.
It was like prestigious.
I went so far as to have a second account. Okay.
Oh my God.
And it was Hex's second account or something along those lines. And what you would do, and I'm not saying that I was charging people for this, but I was telling them, like, yo, I have too many friends. So why don't, you know, some of my fans, top 100, add that account, and then you can, by proxy, add me or join me this way. So you'd be friends with the Optic Montage account. That was the name of it before montages were a thing. You would join that one, and then you would look at that friends list, and then you would join me, and then you would join my game or whatever.
Dude,
and
I remember looking at some of the Halo friends list and being like, whoa, T-squared, neighbor. You get Slaw, which was Walshy's gamer tag, was Walshy backwards. And like, oh my God, there's Roy and Lunchbox. I would like freak out, like seeing all of them. And Halo was where I truly embraced what it meant to be an MLG fan in the MLG Pro circuit. And then I went again to another MLG event. My second one was MLG Providence 2011. Yeah. And by that point, Halo was starting to take second stage to StarCraft.
StarCraft 2, yeah. Was it StarCraft
2?
Yeah, okay.
And at that point,
I wasn't that familiar.
And I was already grinding StarCraft at that point. Like I had played it for like 6 to 8 months. And all the Halo players were tweeting out and would tweet out and go, anyone play StarCraft and want to teach me? Because it is a completely different beast to Halo, obviously. And I would be arguably their only fan who played it. Because obviously Twitter followers and interaction was not what it was back then. Right. And so I'd be like, sure, like, I'd love to teach you. We'd get in a Skype call because that's what everyone used back then. And people like Enable, Flamesword, Ace, Cleet LaRusso, Assault,
yeah.
Puckett. I mean, literally, you name the Halo player, and I almost can guarantee I have a connection with them from that time. And the number one tip with it was just you have to be normal when you meet people. Like when you meet people,
Yeah.
Those guys didn't want a fan to be joining and freaking out and you know screenshotting and stuff. We got in a game together, and I acted like completely normal. Hey, nice to meet you, man. Let's get some games in. I helped teach them. Next thing you know, we start playing more and more.
How would you teach them though? Like, what would be the first step?
I mean, when I said,
don't give me the whole tutorial.
But like when I say they really didn't know much about anything, it was like little timing pushes we can do to get into the game more. You know, what they could do to optimize their build instead of just randomly building stuff. It's like have a plan to go into it with.
Yeah.
What certain numbers in the game, like timings in the game, should you try to hit and watch out
So
for?
obviously you were freaking out, but you didn't show it. How
Never
were you
showed
like? You were like,
oh, dude, I mean, I would join the call and be like, "Yo, what's up?" And it would be like Ace, for example, and he'd be like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" And I'd be like, "Good, dude, good." And mute my mic and be like, "Oh!" I'd start freaking out, dude. And I still feel that way when I play with people today, but I've done it now for so many years.
Yeah,
like it's still, I just know, you know. Now it's like, oh my god, I'm playing with them.
Yeah.
But then immediately like let's get into the action.
Yeah, you know, Walshy is one of the people that's at one day in a couple episodes down the line, he's definitely gonna be on the podcast. Because I wanna let me put it to you like this. I remember vividly, okay, I was at my first townhouse that I ever bought, Jude and I bought. I was sitting in the kitchen, I was taking care of Liv. Jude was working at the time. I was taking care of Liv. She was actually, you know what? It was before Liv. And I was watching TV, and then I saw like a Halo-esque documentary with Walshy in how he has his own house off of gaming and has his own clothing line, Cañero?
Whatever
it was.
Yeah.
And then he got a tattoo of it on his forearm. And I remember like the sort of stardom that, and I would see pictures of him in like this very cool. The reason that my office is the way that it is right now is because I have a very, very vivid memory of Walshy's setup where he's like in this very cool loft area. He's sitting in front of like there's only a coffee. Everything's blank. There's only a coffee.
That Red Bull photo shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking
talking
about.
about.
The reason that I have these sort of like my setup is like this is because I have this very vivid, you know, memory of how cool that made me feel.
One of the photos is like him looking up at the screen, like like on the seat or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I totally get you.
And I'm like, man, that's so cool. And then, you know, years later we got to know each other and all that. But it's wild to me how little moments in life sort of get stuck with you so much that it, you know, in the back of your head, and you know, in the processor that's always working. It's always working. There's this just very vivid memory that says you got to do it like this. You got to do it like this. You got to do it like this. And years later, we're talking about close to 13 years later, I'm creating, you know, a space that I love, that's a sort of a mimic of a picture that I saw by Red Bull, which is like to me nuts. And I tend to imagine anything that I do in my office is always like one day there's gonna be some old ass dude that's gonna have the opportunity to build something, and I want him to be inspired a certain way. So everything from the beginning of time, I always focus on cool first.
100%.
You know, storylines and all that, but it's wild.
It's like the Fantasy Factory, Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory, and like what that was and why I think so many people gravitated towards it. On like MTV's for that show, for example, it was just like it was cool. It was an awesome hangout space. It was, you could do whatever. It's like a big it was like use your imagination, you know. And I think that's where it like saw a lot of success. But at MLG Providence, when I went to watch StarCraft because that was when StarCraft 2 was really in its peak. And I was fully into the whole StarCraft thing. I mean, I was so excited. It was Halo Reach at the time, so it was dying down. I went with my friends. My dad actually drove us up and stayed the weekend. And I remember vividly seeing him just wander around the venue, like just getting the free Stride Gum shirts and random little games.
Who was Walshy?
My dad.
Oh, your dad. Yeah.
And then that was Black Ops at the time. The only jersey I vividly remember in my head was Proofy. He was on the featured stage. And I was like, oh, I've heard that name before. And that was at the event when there was no one in the crowd.
Right.
2, they didn't play caster audio to the crowd in fear that the players on stage would hear
Of course.
it. So when you sat in the crowd, it was just dead silent.
Yep.
And then League of Legends was so small that they were just packed in the corner.
Yeah.
And I got to speak with Freak and Rivington from Riot
Yep.
For literally an hour because there were so few people interacting there that like it was just like I could just go up and talk to them for an hour, and we just talked about random League of Legends stuff. He told me his favorite character was Corki. I told him that I was playing Ramus jungle, and it was hysterical, and like I couldn't believe how funny it was rolling around and then like that was super throwback. And because I just started playing League, and I got to meet Tasteless, and I followed since I was involved on Reddit. I got to go on the Reddit tour from Sundance. I went early on the Thursday.
I was there
on
for
the
that.
Friday.
Wait, where was this?
Providence still.
Providence. Okay, no, I didn't know
And
Providence.
he brought us backstage, and obviously still just a fan. I'd never spoken to Sundance at that point. I got to see Husky StarCraft and everything.